Hey, good morning. Sean here from Voices from the Dirt Road. Good to see you this Friday morning. It's been a great week because guess what? We got some rain. And I think most of us throughout the country been praying for it, and good Lord came through, and that it was just clearly a big blessing this week. So, hey, this week we got a couple things we want to talk about on the show. We won't hold you too long this morning, but we do want to bring you up to date on what's going on with the forest fires down in southeast Georgia. And then on top of that, we're going to talk a little bit about the drought, and then we're going to talk about the farm bill and where is that. So buckle up. Let's just jump right into it. Um, First thing I need to do, because I keep forgetting all the time. I know many of you have been with me for a long time, but I think it's important that I talk about the stool. So can we put the stool back up? I want to make sure that people understand what the show is all about. As this show purpose is to focus on the rural communities, rural America across the board, and give voice to the rural America, what's going on from a farmer's point of view, from an agriculture point of view, from small town America point of view. And with that being said, we look through a lens of what is going on the farm, and we based it built off this stool here. And as you can see, go back to the stool, please. As you can see, the stool there, we have livestock. As y'all guys know, I raise cattle. But then on top of that, we have row crops. Row crops is like corn, peanuts, soybeans. And that's what the guys are doing in Southwest Georgia and really throughout the country. And then we have forestry, and forestry is kind of where we're dealing with the forest fires and all those kind of things. And then all behind that is the USDA, and how they're supporting us. And then ultimately at the top of this stool, where everybody can sit on it, is the farm bill, and we'll give you some updates on that because as of yet, the farm bill has moved a little bit, but it's just not there yet. So we'll talk in details about that. And then, as you can see, because I'm originally from Southwest Georgia, there's that red clay, and that red clay is not going to change anytime soon. So from that, here we go. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. All right. Um, as far as what's going on, before I jump into all those things, let me just give you a quick little update of what's been going on here on the farm. If we can put up the video, please. And I'm gonna talk over this. The key thing here, reason why I want to show you this video is not really to show you the cows, but it is to say, yes, we actually got rain these last 2 or 3 days of the week. In addition to that, this was yesterday, and we had another storm coming in. The great thing about that is, as y'all guys know, throughout the entire country, but specifically here in Georgia, we've been in a major drought. We have not got enough rain to actually get us out of the drought. But I do want to say it was truly a blessing to get that rain, because a few weeks ago, we put out fertilizer, but until that fertilizer gets some water on it, it's not going to do anything. So the good thing is the cows got plenty of grass to grow. I mean, plenty of grass to eat. The grass is starting to grow. And as soon as I finish the show this morning, I'm going out and checking on them. But I will tell you, I'm excited to see that the grass is growing, because one thing I can tell you, if you're in the cattle business, you're not actually in the cattle business, you're in the growing grass business, because if you don't have the grass, or you don't have the hay, then you're clearly going to be out of the cattle business. And I think some of our larger farms, as you can see, I'm what you consider a small to a medium-sized farm when it comes to a cattle farm. Most cattle farms here in the United States average is roughly about 40 head of cattle, and I fall inside that range. With that being said, most cattle farms that are a lot bigger than that, if they were running out of grass, they actually had to sell off some cattle this particular week, which in turn gets us into a greater conversation of, hey, right now, the United States has the smallest cattle herd in 75 years. With that being said, the USDA is asking us to keep back some of our heifers. A heifer is a a calf that's a female that has never had a calf before. They're actually asking us to keep some of those heifers back, grow the herd as a group and get it larger. But the reality of it is, if you don't actually have the grass on the ground and you're in the middle of a drought, it's going to make it very hard for you to be able to keep those cows back. So we're in a little bit of a pickle. hopefully this week we'll continue to get rain, and that will actually bring us out of the drought that we're currently in. With that being said, let me just go on and since I'm talking about the drought, let me just go on and well, I'll stop there, and then I'll come back a little bit later and talk about the drought, because I want to talk about the drought from the point of view of the USDA, because the USDA just did some things under FSA this week, and I want to make sure I talk about that. So I'll talk about that a little bit later, but that's the update from my farm personally. I'm happy that we actually got some rain. I'm glad to see the grass is growing, and that's truly a blessing. The next thing we wanted to talk about very quickly this morning is, y'all guys know, at least here, I know people watching from all over the United States, and some people chime in from all over the world, is that we've been having two major forest fires that's been going on in southeast Georgia. The good thing about this is that the same rain that came through northwest Georgia the other day, it did make its way all the way down to Savannah. It wasn't as hard as we got it up here, but it was enough to get things wet. And because it got things wet, it has helped to contain the fires, and the fires are moving in the right direction by getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Can we play the video for the forest fire? Give us a little update.
Now to the latest on the wildfires in South Georgia. Fire crews continue to make progress on the containment, which is great news. The Georgia Forestry Commission says crews responded to 12 new fires yesterday. Two of the largest ongoing wildfires, known as the Pineland Road and Highway 82 fires, have burned more than 50,000 acres combined. The Pineland Road fire is now 65% contained, and the Highway 82 fire is 85% contained. Officials are urging people to avoid those fire zones, keep drones grounded, just don't put them up in the air in that area, and use caution in smoky areas as dry conditions continue to fuel the wildfire risk.
Like I said, that is great news. We with the rain, with the hard work of the first responders, they are starting to get containment over those fires. It's not over yet, but a key piece is just actually occurred this week. The task force and all of those additional assets are starting to pull back out, and the Forest Commission is going to take back over the forest or the fires, which is a great step. Is that nobody's being abandoned, but now the Forest Commission they can handle everything with their own assets. And I believe with the continued weather that we have, as it's making its way across the state with rain, I think that's going to continue to help them. And we pray that they get these fires completely put out here this coming week. And I know I have family and friends down in that particular area, and they tell me they are extremely happy that these fires are being contained, and kind of go from there. So, but please keep all the people in your prayers that houses or farms or businesses were burned up, and hopefully they can get some relief and help and get back on their feet. But again, the Forestry Commission will be taking the operation back over. We'll give you a new update next week. But I'm confident if the weather comes through and the Forestry Commission can stay out in front of it, they should have these two fires put out next week or sometime this week. Now, just want to transition real quick this morning. We had some great news last week, right at the end of the week. I think it was last Friday as I was on the air. The House of Representatives, I think it was either late last Thursday night, or early Friday morning, depending on how you want to look at it. They actually passed the Farm Bill. That is, on face value, that's a great thing. I want to make sure everybody understands that. That's awesome, because it's been a long time since we had a Farm Bill even remotely move. So the Farm Bill has moved from the House to the Senate. With that being said, it's some issues with the Farm Bill. When I say some issues with the Farm Bill, it's a lot of good things in there that's going to help farmers out. However, it's a lot of discussion on the SNAP part of the Farm Bill, and some regulations, all those kind of things. I'll leave it at a very high level. And the reason why I leave it at a very high level today is because, as y'all guys know, the way it works, the Farm Bill goes from the House and then it goes to the Senate. now it is currently sitting in the Senate. The House of Representatives and the Senate were on recess this week, so your congressman should have been back at home, out talking to people, holding town halls, whatever. Some of them might have had a town hall where they specifically was talking about the farm bill, what was in the farm bill. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to get on the political side of it, but at the end of the day, I want you to know that it did go from the House to the Senate. And it's been sitting in the Senate now for a week. The Senate will go back to work. Let me look at my notes here. The Senate goes back to work on the 11th, May 11th, and the House goes back to work on the May 12th. So next week they go back to work Monday and Tuesday. What we don't know, and it's not on the schedule. We looked just this morning. Even though the Senate actually has the farm bill, it is not scheduled on the docket when they're going to actually bring it up. And I think that's important that we should understand that as farmers, as people that have been following the farm bill, is that just because it passed the House doesn't mean that it is actually passed and is on its way to the President of the United States for him to sign. That simply means it went from one place to the next. And if that next place don't actually bring it up to discuss or debate, then it could very well die right there. Inside of my Georgia Cattleman magazine that I just got this just the other day. Now that's good looking steak right there. That is good looking steak. Inside the Cattleman, our president talks about that he's happy that the farm bill has passed over from the Senate, from the House to the Senate. However, when you start getting into the world of politics, into that second year, people start paying more attention to the midterms versus actually getting policies done. And I hope and pray that the farm bill doesn't get caught up into that, and it doesn't actually go anywhere. I'm gonna look down here because I wrote myself a couple of notes because I wanted you to know this. We will continue to follow the farm bill and see when it's going to go on the docket for the Senate, or if it's not, we'll see. We'll keep you up to date on that as the weeks go by. But right now, if from today, and like I said, the House of Representatives has been in recess, just like the Senate is recessed. That means your congressman or congresswoman is actually at home. But as of today, for this session for the House, is 69 more working days for the House of Representatives, and then for the Senate is 85 more working days. And the reality of it is, for Truth in Lending, September 30th is really the last day that they actually going to do some work, because in October, each one of them basically have 1 or 2 days that they actually in Washington, D.C. As y'all guys know, when we get to October, everybody's laser focused on the November elections, and that's what's going to suck everything, all their time. So the reality is, the reason why I want to take a little time with this morning is to make sure everybody understands that I believe that we probably got at least a 30-day window here or there, let's say 45-day window on trying to get this farm bill passed, because the longer it sits, and because I am confident that the version that went from the House to the Senate is not going to pass the Senate. Hence, it's going to have to come back to the House, and they're going to debate some more. So that's why these working days start getting real tight. But we'll see. We're hopeful that they get something passed. But as of right now, the good news is that the farm bill did make it out of the House. It is some parts in it that are outstanding, some areas that some people are concerned about and going to fight about. That's just normal politics. And I think when it gets to the Senate, some things going to be addressed about the SNAP program and some other things. But ultimately, I think it's E15, or I think it's E15. The guys out in Iowa want something to go year round. So that's a sticky point also. But I'll spend some time next week, depending on where the farm bill is, and start breaking down what's actually in it. We'll do a whole show on that. So with that, the key thing, like I already said, is the farm bill is moving. I don't think it's going to move too much this coming week when the Senate comes back, but we will see, and I'll keep you up to speed with that, and we'll also post about it if something drastically happens between now and that particular time. Now I want to go back now and talk about the drought. And when I talk about the drought this time, I want to make sure that as farmers, you have this information. If your farm is registered with the USDA or registered with FSA, then you should have got and I'm specifically talking about Georgia now. I'm specifically talking about Georgia because that's where I'm at. I can't tell you what they did in Tennessee or down in Florida or whatever. I'm talking about Georgia. You should have got a text from the FSA office that tells you that whatever county that you live in is now eligible for drought relief funds. With that being said, you should receive that text. And the reason why I'm bringing that to your attention, because suppose they got the wrong number or something changed, whatever. I'm basically talking directly to our farmers this morning to tell you, take the time today to either call up to your FSA office or stop by your FFA office, FSA office, and just check in to make sure that your county is either on the list or not. A week and a half ago, the county that I live in was not on the list. 134 counties were on the list. My particular county was not. And then just 3 days ago, my county went on the list. So I think we're up to 135, 136, whatever it is here in the great state of Georgia. But it's continuously changing and updating. But from that, I got a phone call, I got a text. I went up to the FSA office and I actually signed some paperwork for the drought. And based on the amount of cattle that I had on my farm at that particular time, I'm going to receive some funding to help me keep the farm afloat. Now, it is not hundreds and thousands of dollars, but it is enough to probably help me plant, reseed some of the pastures next year, or help pay some fertilizer or whatever. So it won't make you rich, but it will kind of just help you keep going and kind of go from there. The other thing I want to bring to your attention, go in there, ask the question, make sure you get what you're supposed to get. But the other piece of it is you will not receive the funds immediately. It's going to take some time for the funds to be distributed. And when I say that, I don't know if it's going to be 30 days, 60 days, or 100 plus days. That is kind of the problem that many of our farmers are dealing with right now, is federal funding that's coming to them for different things. However, the question is the federal funding going to get here in time enough to help them with the issues that are happening today, or will it get here later on down the road? We're thankful for it, but it was a little bit too late. So the reason why I wanted to talk about the drought a second time in this video, so that this time when I'm talking about the drought, is not more about did it rain or it didn't rain. This piece of the conversation is that farmers today, stop, pick up the phone, call your rep, or stop by when you get a cup of coffee. Go by that office. You know exactly where that office is at, and specifically go in there and ask them, hey, is my county on the list? And if so, it would take you less than 5 minutes to fill out the paperwork. The other thing, I just want you to know, if your office is like in my area, I'm not going to get into ways of saying where my area is at, but if your office, your FSA office is like in my area, the office, based on some cuts, is not as big and robust as it used to be. That simply means, hey, farmers, we cannot wait to the last minute on the last day, 2 seconds before the day is over, to rush into the guy's office. Please go up there now while things are kind of slow, and let them help you fill out the paperwork. You sign it and be done with it, so that they can process it, because there's not as many people that used to work in that office. They're working now. So let's just be mindful. These are our neighbors. These are our friends. We know them personally. let's be mindful and say, okay, let's don't wait till the last minute. Go on up there now and tell them, hey, Sean just told me to stop by. You never can tell. It may be some other things up there that you qualify for your farm, because like I said, there's a lot of things going on. But I did want to bring that to your attention today, because I think that's very important, tangible things that you could do today and actually set your farm up for some additional funding in the future, strictly because we are still in a drought, and we, depending on how the weather plays out, we might go back into another drought. So that's that. So already today, we passed you some very good information. We're not going to hold you too long this morning, but we already talked about the weather itself. We said that we got some rain here in Northwest Georgia, and the grass is starting to grow again. That means the guys are out cutting hay now, either the first cut or second cut. And guys like me will definitely be buying hay here soon, getting ready for the winter. But in addition to that, we gave you an update on exactly where we're at with the farm bill. We gave you some information on exactly how many more days it is that the House and the Senate will actually be working. And then we turned back around and took some time to say, okay, yes, we have a drought. Yes, here in the state of Georgia, there's about 136, 137 counties that has been designated as being in a drought. And based off that, you can get funding from the federal government, the FSA office. And I've actually asked our farmers, hey, take the time, call up there, stop by today, get your paperwork signed so that you're in line to receive some funding in the future, depending on the size of your cattle herds or whatever it is. And then the last piece, we always talk about this every week. As y'all guys know, farming is fun. Farming is person's love of my life, but farming is also very stressful. With the fires, with the drought, with the cost, with everything, with the war that's going on in Iran, with everything else, there's a lot of stress that are on our farmers trying to figure out if you plant this crop, are you going to have anywhere to sell it? So there's a lot of different factors that are pressing our farmers. And one of the things I always like to talk about at every show is mental health. As y'all guys know, I spent 40 years in the military, and on the flip side of the coin, we still have an issue with our veterans when it comes to mental health, and we do a lot to try to support them. But I want to do the same thing that we're doing over there for our veterans, for our farmers, because farmers at this point in the rural community don't actually have the mental health facilities. We're in a mental health desert, and we got to get that fixed. But one of the things I want to do on this show is every week, I want to make sure that, family members or the farmer, whoever it is, if you're having a stressful day and things are not looking like you want them to look, before you make a long-term decision for a short-term issue, I want you to pick up the phone and call 988. You call that number, and it will be somebody 24 hours a day that will answer that phone and talk to you. The key thing is, I just want to get you to the next day, because if you can get to the next day, we probably can get you some help. The sun's going to come up, and you'll be able to work it out. So with that, I just make sure family members, if your mom, dad, grandpa, somebody's struggling, make sure if they don't call, you call for them. Let's get them some help, because in the rural community, we are living in a healthcare desert, but specifically we living in a mental health desert. And we need to make sure that we're taking care of our farmers. At the same time, we need to make sure that our young farmers that get into this, it's going to be stressful, it's going to be tough, but we need to make sure we're putting our hands around them also, because at the end of the day, if we don't have our farmers, we won't be able to eat it somewhere in the future. So with that, I look forward to seeing you next week. I look forward to seeing you somewhere today. When I walk outside today, I'm going to be doing a little traveling here and there, but I look forward to just kind of seeing everybody. I look forward to some of my farmer friends. Just give me a call if you got some questions about the drought, or you got some questions about going up to the FSA office. I'll give you more details. You just call me on the phone and we can kind of go from there. But I encourage you, go and get up there. Don't wait till the last minute and that's throughout the great state of Georgia and really throughout everywhere. But I can only speak on Georgia because that's where I'm at. So with that, hey, I think I've been talking to you. Look like I've been talking about 25 minutes, which is perfect because we try to make this show right at the 30-minute mark because we wanted to kind of be kind of fast, but not too fast, but enough information that you can take golden nuggets, or you can play it back later on in the day and say, okay, I don't need all the farm update, but I do need this information what Sean talked about, the farm bill, where is that? Or I need the information about, hey, I need to go up to the FSA office. You can cut it and see those particular pieces and use it for your benefit. So with that, hey guys, I just want to say thank you for all your support. This was our 30th episode, and with that, the cup is empty. Have a great day.